world, sometimes I stand alone. How many of y'all have ever felt like you've just stood alone? That's down to earth right there. That's where the rubber meets the road. Hey, sometimes I've just felt like I've been in this all by myself. But you know what? It doesn't matter, because I know how to get His attention even when I'm all by myself. It doesn't matter if somebody else has joined with me. It doesn't matter if there's a crowd around me. I know how to get a hold of God all by myself. Hallelujah. When I think this evening, I'm going to go ahead and go into it. When I think this evening, you can go ahead and be seated if you want to. I won't be long. I told my wife I wasn't going to be long this morning, and she got mad at me when we got in the car. But when you think of a man by the name of Edmund Hillary, and you think of the unclimbable mountain, where many had gone before and they failed and they did not succeed, and they attempted and they tried, but they were failures in their attempt, and they did not achieve what they set out for. But you find a man by the name of Edmund Hillary that said, no, I am going to climb this mountain no matter what it takes. I will just keep putting one foot in front of the other. And there were negative voices, and there were naysayers, and there were those that came to talk to him and meet with him and said, Edmund, many have tried this, but they've never been able to accomplish it. What makes it different for you? Hey, I'm determined in myself. Even if I go alone, I will climb this mountain. I'm looking at a church tonight and a group of people that have determined in themselves. You might as well look at your neighbor. You may not worship, and you may not praise, and you may not pray, but hey, there's a mountain before me that I've got to climb, and if you're not going to climb it, I'll climb it alone. Because this mountain is my victory. This mountain may be an obstacle, but I'm going to the top, and I'll stand at the pinnacle, and I'll look back at all of those that may have failed. But I'm here to climb this mountain, even if I've got to do it alone. We find that faith and that trust and that hope in Edmund. In his autobiography, if you were to read it, you would find in one particular statement it says that Edmund came upon a difficult rock face, but this looks difficult, but not for a determined person. This looks difficult, but not for somebody who's after the top. Now, this may be a difficult place, and others may have fallen off here, and others may have failed here in this point, but hey, it's just going to be a step to me because I'm determined to make it. And his autobiography states that what was a difficult rock face just became a step to Edmund, and it is now known as Hillary's step. That's a prophetic word for Hillary Etheridge. It just became a step to Edmund because he was determined to not let anything set him back. All the negative voices, all the naysayers, all those that doubted him, and all those that questioned his belief in making it. Hey, it was just motivation for him to go ahead and pursue more and pursue after what he desired. And I'm preaching here tonight for somebody, all the negative voices and all the naysayers and all those that have doubted. Hey, you're in a church service tonight. You're in the presence of a holy God, and you desire and pursue more. Let it be your motivation for more of Him. There was a saying long before the global calendar or the global picture was put into place. They had what was as the known world. And then off to the side it would say these words, ne plus ultra, which meant no more beyond. Ne plus ultra became the saying on the geographical portraits for those of this is the known world, and we don't know about anything beyond this, so it's no more beyond. And we ask you not to go there because we don't know anything about it, and there's probably nothing out there for you until the late 1400s. A man by the name of Christopher Columbus said, no, I'm going to sail into where it says no more beyond, because I believe there's more out there for me. I wish there was a husband. I wish there was a father. I wish there's a family member that got a hold of what I'm saying right now that says there's been others that have said there's no more out there. You can't get any more at the altar than what you've already gotten to know. I beg to differ. I've been in the altar many times, and I've received different things over and over. And when somebody says to me, there's no more there, hey, I'm going to try it anyways, because it might just be the time that I get my victory. It might be the time that I leave with a shout when I've been down. See, the phrase served as a warning. Let there not be more sailing beyond, or no more beyond. So they did not attempt it and they did not try it. I'm here to preach to you tonight as your pastor that there is more beyond what you've experienced to this point. There may be a geographical portrait said we've reached this, and this has been our height before, and this has been our depth before, and this is what we've excelled at, and this is what we have exceeded in, and this is what we've been successful in. But I'm telling you, God has more for us as a church, and God has more for you as an individual, more than what you've ever realized. Don't cut yourself short here this evening. God has a purpose and a plan for you far beyond what you've ever thought, and far beyond what you've ever imagined, and far above and beyond what others have spoken into your life. God has greater mercy. God has greater grace. God has greater love than what you've ever imagined. See, there will be those that tell you not to do anymore and to not sacrifice anymore. There will be those that want you to stop pursuing because they want to stop pursuing, and they don't want to feel the pressure of somebody close to them. I know what I'm talking about. I went to Bible college. That didn't make me super smart or super spiritual. But there were people that got to a place at Bible college where they got real complacent. And they got real satisfied with what they had learned to that point. And when you try to have conversations with them and you say, hey, look what I found in the Word. No, that's reaching. Because they had reached a point they didn't want to learn anymore. But I had a desire in me, and I wasn't perfect, but I had a desire in me. Hey, God, I want everything that you have to offer. I don't want to settle for less. I don't want to stop short. I want everything that you have to offer. Even if nobody else is doing it, even if others are wanting to stop short, even if others say I'm good with what I've got and I'm where I need to be, God, I want a desire stronger than where I'm at. I don't want to become complacent. God, put a desire and a burden in me, even if I have to do it alone. See, peer pressure causes people to miss out. Loneliness causes people to miss out, so they don't want the pressure of their peers ridiculing or criticizing, so they just fall back in line with everybody else, and they don't want to be left out, and they don't want to be alone, so they just fall back out in line with everybody else. I counseled a young lady one time who was in a relationship. She had an apartment in a city about 30 minutes away from where we were at. And she said, as she came to meet with me, she said, my boyfriend, he's abusive. He beats me. I said, well, what are you doing still with him? I just asked what I thought was the obvious question. She said, well, it's my apartment. I said, well, what is he still doing with you? If it's not his apartment and he doesn't do anything and you're the one working and you're the one paying the bills and he just stays at home and he still feels like he has the right and the authority to beat you, why is he still there? I said, you need to get rid of him. She said, no, I can't do that. And it was right there in that moment she valued having somebody who was abusive over being lonely. She would rather have somebody there in her life, even if that person was abusive, at least that person was there, rather than being lonely. But I'm preaching here tonight. I'm talking to some people here tonight that you're willing to step beyond, even if nobody else. Hey, y'all can stay back if you want to, but God's calling me to something greater. You can stay back if you want to, but God's calling me to something greater. I wish somebody get the faith and the trust of Peter in them. God, if it's you, bid me to come to you on the water, because I don't want to stay in the boat. If you're out there, this may be my comfort, and this is where others get complacent. But God, if you're walking on the water, I've got just enough faith that I can walk on the water too. I could see Thomas, I could see Matthew, I could see the others, James and John. Peter, what are you doing? No, you don't understand. We're in the boat, but Jesus is out there, and I don't want to be where Jesus isn't. I wish we'd get the mentality. I wish we'd get the understanding. I wish something would break in our spirit, even if everybody else is staying in the boat. Hey, God, if that's where you're working, that's where I want to be. If that's where you're at, that's where I want to be. If that's where you're moving, I don't have to stay here. I want to be where you are. I don't have to stay here if God is calling me beyond. If it's the mountain I'm supposed to climb, I'll climb it. I'm determined in myself. If it's the water I'm supposed to walk on, God, if it's you, bid me to come to you on the water, and I'll take that step of faith. We have to push back that spirit of loneliness and say, no, I'm not by myself in this. I'm not alone. When others tell you, well, if you do it, you're going to be all by yourself. No, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. See, there's a higher power. And there's a greater strength, and there's something the world cannot comprehend, and there's something the world cannot understand. And it's those negative voices that tell you, no, you're going to be all by yourself. No, I'm not all by myself. I'm walking with the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. It may look like I'm out on the water all by myself, but I'm walking with Jesus. It may look like I'm climbing the mountain all by myself, but He is with me, and greater is He that is in me than he that is in the world. So I come to you tonight with the simple title, As for Me. As for me, in Joshua 24:15, and if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you will serve. Whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, nor the gods of the Amorites in whose land ye dwell. But as for me, you can make a declaration on a Sunday evening. You may all choose to go another direction, and you may all choose to walk away, and you may all choose to just sit down. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Even if nobody else is doing it, I'm going to serve Him. Even if nobody else is doing it, we're going to serve Him. Even if everyone else walks away, you want to serve that God, I can't stop you. But as for me, I'm going to serve Him. As for me, I'm going to serve Him. Psalms 5 and 7 says, but as for me, I will come into thy house in the multitude of thy mercy, and in thy fear will I worship toward thy holy temple. I may be the only one doing it. Oh, I come to the battlefield and I stand alone. I look to my left, I look to my right, and I can't find anybody else with me. But God, I know you're with me. As for me, I will worship because I know what you've done in my life. I know where you brought me from. I know what I could have been. But where I am today, they don't add up. But I know it was by your mercy and by your grace and by your goodness. So I will worship, even if I have to do it alone. I will worship. I will worship. Courtney, would you come? Psalm 69 and 13. But as for me, my prayer is unto thee, O Lord, in an acceptable time. O God, in the multitude of thy mercy, hear me. In the truth of thy salvation. As for me, my prayer. So I will serve you. I will worship you. And my prayer is to you. I will pray, even if nobody else is doing it. Even if nobody else is doing it, because there's a mountain I've got to climb. There's water you are calling me out of. There's depths. But as for me, I'll pray, even if others don't do it. The peer pressure that, no, you don't have to pray. There's no reason for you to pray. No, you don't understand. I've got to communicate with God. He's my provider. He's my way maker. If I don't have Him, I don't have anything. He's everything that I need. I will pray even if others don't do it. Psalms 55 and 23 in the NIV. But you, God, will bring down the wicked into the pit of decay. The bloodthirsty and deceitful will not live out half their days. But as for me, I trust you. Again, I say, if nobody else is doing it, as for me, I will trust you. Some trust in chariots. Some trust in horses. But I will trust in the name of the Lord. So many people put their trust in things of this world, and when they fall apart, they have nothing left to lean on. I read a book a few years ago about the stock market crash. I read about the Great Depression and what took place during that time. And there were so many people that put all of their hope in that. And when things started falling apart, they had nothing left. Jesus, I still will trust in you. In Micah chapter 7, I come to a close. Micah chapter 7 and verse 2, the faithful have been swept from the land. It's going to sound like a bunch of negative, and it's going to sound a lot like where we are today. The faithful have been swept from the land, not one upright person remains. Everyone lies in wait to shed blood. They hunt each other with nets. Both hands are skilled in doing evil. The ruler demands gifts. The judge accepts the bribes. The powerful dictate what they desire, and they all conspire together. The best of them is like a briar, the most upright worse than a thorn hedge. The day God visits you has come. The day your watchmen sound the alarm. Now is the time of your confusion. Do not trust a neighbor. Put no confidence in a friend. Even with the woman who lies in your embrace, guard the words of your lips. The words of Micah tell us, for a son dishonors his father, a daughter rises up against her mother, a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's enemies are the members of his own household. Look at the words of Micah. When there's so much going on, Micah says, I put a lot of attention, a lot of focus on the negative. God, as for me, I watch in hope for you. With all the chaos, with all the confusion, my eyes are fixed on you. Even if nobody else is looking, I'm watching. As for me, I'm watching in hope for the Lord, and I wait for God, my Savior. Would you stand with me? Edmund, what's driving you to climb the mountain when everybody else says it can't be done? This mountain will become just a step to me when it's all over. Even if I have to do it alone. As for me, Jesus, if you're walking on the water, I want to be where you are. I want to walk in victory. I want to walk in authority. I want to walk in power. I want to walk in dominion. I want to walk with you. And if nobody else is doing it, God, I will serve you. I will trust you. I will worship you. I will pray. And I will watch for you. Even if nobody else is doing it. I'm preaching this evening to those that have second guessed whether they should stay in the fold or if they should step out into what God is calling them into. Stepping out isn't easy, but even if I'm alone, I'm walking with Jesus nonetheless. I open the altar this evening for somebody that says, God, I know you're calling me beyond complacency. I know you're calling me beyond what's been normal. God, I want to go where you are, even if I have to go alone. I open the altar this evening to whosoever will. Would you come?